This is a very special episode of the Creative Bias podcast. It's the holiday episode. It's the Thanksgiving episode. It is Thanksgiving, which got us to thinking, like, what are creative things or just things that we're thankful for that are creativity adjacent? And I'm excited to do this because I've given this a lot of thought, and I've come up with three that I think are like really meaningful to me, and um, hopefully there are lessons in each one of them for everyone listening to this. How has the exercise been for you?
I think I was pretty, I think I told you before we came on, like I was going to journal on it, and kind of see what comes up because I
Okay.
do think I'm someone who's inspired by a lot of creative things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the way I approached this was less like, I don't want to say less creative things I'm grateful for, but creative things I'm grateful for because they genuinely changed my life.
Okay.
And like shaped who I am right now, which was like something that I really observed as I was picking my like three because a
Mm-hmm.
few things came up. Um, but I narrowed it down to three because I feel that they're representative of who I am in this moment. Whereas I think if we did this exercise a few years ago, it might have been a different list.
100%. 100%.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there's definitely some uh, parallel process that you and I have done in putting our lists together. And the reason it's only three things is like we could do, a million things, but people have to get to their turkey and eat their pie or whatever it is. I'm imagining everyone's going to be listening to this on Thanksgiving right after they finish their dinner. Because what else would you want to do with your life? Then listen
Yeah,
to a
or on like the
podcast.
train back home. Like I'm picturing
No, there
full
you go.
blown like Long Island Railroad, the lure. You're on the lure listening to our podcast. This one's for you.
This one's for you on the Long Island Railroad. Love it. Okay, so I am going to invite you if you want to go first, and then I'll go, and then we'll just take turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have at it.
Okay. First one. I also, just side note, had another observation of mine, which I feel like is something for me to explore later.
Okay.
I was sort of surprised that all of mine are seemingly males, white males, mostly
Interesting.
white males,
Horrible
which
for you.
yeah, I don't love that, and I just wanna call that out to hold myself accountable,
Okay.
and maybe bring to therapy at some point.
Yes. I think the creative bias to therapy pipeline is a direct flight. Like
Real.
you're right there. Um,
So just want to caveat, like, we listen, we don't judge.
yes. No, absolutely not. We're not here to judge. We're here to expose the innards of our creative souls to help inspire people. Okay, go ahead.
So my first one is Peaky Blinders.
Say
Have
more.
you seen it?
I have not, but I have been told by multiple people that I respect that I must see it, but I haven't.
Okay, that makes me feel better. Um, no, so I feel like also with the three that I picked, there's like a quote or like a common theme that is the thing that inspired me or that I'm grateful for, like it landing and resonating with me. And with Peaky Blinders, it's I have no limitations.
Okay.
Um, so without like spoiling it, I've watched the entire series like 4 times through. Like it's sometimes just like my background stuff because the main character, Tommy Shelby,
Okay.
uh it's set in 1919 through like Prohibition in
Got it.
Birmingham, England.
Okay.
And yeah, there's a bunch of like themes there. He is a gangster. Like that
Okay.
we must be clear. He is a criminal. He is, I want to say like he's one of those like beloved villains.
Sure.
Where it's like this isn't someone you would ever like befriend in reality,
Right.
but watching the trajectory of what he came from and what he became and what
Mhm.
he made of himself and his family, there's something to be said for that. And I think the reason why I love the show is because of the whole I have no limitations thing,
'Kay.
holding it together. Like, he is someone who came from very little means,
Sure.
and then his whole life and everyone's life was turned upside down by the Great War,
Mhm.
and he came back with nothing. And, by the end of it, he is considered to be like a pillar of society.
Okay. So
Um,
he sort of transcends his status as a criminal, and, does he achieve respectability, or is it more like just like he's accepted because he's powerful?
I think it starts out with the intention to become legit, like become a legitimate businessman,
Got it.
but he realizes as he's going up the ranks that that's near impossible, because as he goes up further the ranks and like enters politics, he realizes that these people are just as corrupt
For
as, if
sure.
not more corrupt than the people he dealt with in the streets.
Yep. Yep, yep.
Um, I like anything that confronts the darkness within humanity, like the
Totally.
shadows.
Yeah.
The thing about beloved villains is there's truth to them. That's
Uh-huh.
why they're lovable. I think that's like weirdly like a theme that comes up in coaching, like when you're stuck or when you feel lost.
Yep.
It's because you're beholden to your limitations or who you've been up to that point.
Okay.
And moving beyond that means pushing beyond your limitations.
When you were talking about beloved villains, I was thinking about who are some other great beloved villains in history, and I was thinking about, Doctor Evil for sure,
Mm,
and, Doctor Evil and Tony Montana. I feel like
mhm.
people love Scarface, and it reminds me
Right.
of this thing that I have long believed, and I don't wanna go down a rabbit hole on this, but I'm just gonna say, I think to your point about, like, um, a lot of times works of art, works of fiction, even true stories about the darkness that motivates people is very attractive to people because um, there's a darkness that lives in everybody, I believe.
Mhm. There
And
sure is.
most of us spend most of our time keeping that suppressed
Mhm.
because we're not psychopaths. But there's something like fantastical and freeing about the idea of what if I didn't suppress it? What if I had no conscience? What if I had no morals? What if I just I was unlimited, right?
Right.
And so I think that's very interesting. I also think it's why people love con artists because I think there's just something about like the audacity that lives within a con artist that makes people go, man, if only I didn't give a shit what other people thought of me, I'd be
Right.
capable of so much stuff.
It's exactly that. If I didn't like, obviously to the extreme of criminality, but just
Yep.
outside of that, not giving a shit what people think, or just
Totally.
like, I think ultimately you go into it thinking you're going to prove other people wrong, but then you
Mm.
find out you're trying to prove it to yourself. It really actually came up for me. I mean, we FaceTimed while I was in Portugal.
Yep.
Um, and I actually visited what was considered to be the edge of the world,
Okay.
um, before the discovery of.
That it's a ball. We live on a
Right, right,
ball.
right.
Right. Right.
And, um, and I stood there, and one, the view is incredible, and I was like, "Wow." But it was so interesting to me because our tour guide told us when we were sitting up there to, like, just find a spot and just think about the idea that at one point people stood in the same place and thought that that's all there was.
Mhm.
And what dawned on me, it was like, wow, at one point, perhaps one of my ancestors stood there at the edge of the world thinking that's all there was. And now I'm like probably living their wildest dreams.
Yep.
and then find myself back in the same place.
I guess what's interesting to me in that is like the idea of you having an ancestor stood or sat at that spot and was like, this is all there is. This is where it all ends. And now here you are, hundreds of years later in the same spot, and you know so much more about the way things work and the fact that the earth is a ball and that there's space and that there's galaxy and all of this. And yet, you I don't know, but maybe we don't feel like we have any more answers. Like, yeah, we know more facts and we know more stuff, but we're all still kind of searching for something.
Right. And I think the reason why I have no limitations came up for me while I was sitting there was because that was the answer. That there
Mm-hmm.
is no one answer for anything. Like we're
Right.
constantly discovering, we're constantly learning and
Hmm.
creating.
Totally. And like the interesting to me, it's like, and I didn't want to do a rabbit hole, but it's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but it's really interesting. It's like you can know so much about the world outside of you, but
External.
there's an infinity inside of each of us that I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we spend most of our lives trying to figure out, like, who am I supposed to be? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? And I think that's really sort of like a profound spin on it to be like, I live without limitations. And that is maybe one of the most creatively freeing thoughts.
Right.
That's
You
cool.
get to create your purpose.
That's right. You get to create yourself.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I my first one has a sort of a parallel
Okay.
because it has to do with the idea of like self discovery or self invention. And I was like, I think it needs to be for me, it needs to be more personal. And so um I'll, the specific thing that I'm thankful for is a person and then a group of people that they they come together. So uh the one person who created an opportunity for me in my career was a guy named Jonathan Hoffman, who was a esteemed creative director in Chicago uh, and other places. And other he worked at Leo Burnett and other ad agencies. And at a point in my career where I was really trying to figure out like what I wanted to be, and I felt this urge like I wanted to be a creative person in advertising. But I didn't come from a creative background. Like I didn't go to ad school. I wasn't a copywriter by trade. I hadn't been trained. I wasn't an artist. I didn't know how to like design things. I wasn't a graphic design person. But I had ideas and I thought that like you could solve most problems by just thinking a little bit differently than everybody else thought. And my path at Starcom at the time crossed with Jonathan's path. And I realized like I wanted to work with him because I wanted him to help me be this idea of who I thought I could be. And um, there was absolutely no, like, he had no duty to help me do that. And Jonathan is a brilliant guy. He's also a guy who, like, he's not a pushover. He's not like the kind of guy who's like, oh, yeah, you need some help. I'll help you out. Put his arm around, it was like, I kind of felt like I had to prove myself to him. And then he saw something in me and was like, yes, let's walk together. Let's build something within this business together. And that what thing that we built was this brand consultancy that lived within Starcom, which was the agency that we worked at. And the consultancy was called Zero Dot. And so I am eternally and forever grateful to Jonathan because he allowed me to build that with him. And in so doing, introduced me to three other people, a guy named John Doyle, a woman named Amy Carr, and a guy named Bob Blair, who, like, honestly shaped me into being the creative person that I think I am now. And why I'm grateful for it is like, it was just kind of like being in the right place at the right time. I guess had the gumption to be like, hey, I see you. Do you see me in the same way? Can I learn from you? And maybe I could help him in certain ways. Um, but it completely changed the permission I gave myself to have about like who I was and how I could see myself. And so yeah, so that's my number one grateful thing. It absolutely reframed like how I saw my very being.
I love that you went in that direction, that you went personal. I wish I had. I did not.
Well, it's the holidays, so I was like, I might as well be personal.
Yeah, no, I really love that you went in that direction. And as you were talking, I was trying to think, well, like, who's that? Who would that person be for me? And at the risk of making both of us deeply uncomfortable,
Don't do it. Don't do it.
it's you.
I mean, I that is an incredibly high compliment, and thank you.
Yeah,
Um, I mean,
thank you.
we've talked about it before, but yeah, I feel like when you see someone who's fearless, you owe it to them to help them out.
Yeah.
So
And there's a magnetism to that as well. Oh.
I got all choked up. Actually, I just started coughing on some tea. Anyway, we're back.
Well done. That was a great joke.
Wow. Oh my goodness. All right, so that's my number one. What's your number two?
My number two. Staying in the realm of not a series, maybe not the most popular movie in the world, some kind of obscure movie
I'm here
that is
for it.
called Bleed for This, starring Miles Teller,
Okay.
who I love. You might know him from, is it Whiplash, the drummer movie where he's like a
Oh yeah,
drummer?
I know who.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who Miles Teller is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, love Miles Teller, and so that's really the only reason why I watched it, because it combined him with boxing, and I was like, I have to see it.
Yep.
Turns out the movie is like a biopic about Vinny Paz,
Okay.
who was a famous
Yep.
boxer at one point, and it's his story. But the life-changing point of this film, I mean, it was shot beautifully as well. Like, it was, for me, like a whole cinematic experience. I think
Okay.
if you know boxing and you watch the movie, you get that. But also his story is insane.
Okay.
Um, we're talking about a guy, like, not to spoiler alert, but we're talking
Yeah. Yeah.
about a guy who was told he'd never be able to walk again, much less box again. And then
Mm-hmm.
he went on to
Yeah.
win a championship
Yep.
anyway.
Yep. My only memories of Vinny Pazienza, was that it? That's his full
Mm-hmm.
name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
Was that he had very cool hair. I feel like he might have had like a spiky kind of mullet situation going on.
Yeah.
Am I
He
thinking
was a wild guy.
yeah.
Like, in real life, like, I've seen interviews with him, like, he's a wild guy. But,
Yeah.
the end of that film is what really moved me. When I tell you the first time I saw it, like, it was like my jaw was on the ground.
Yeah.
I wasn't even breathing because something clicked in me that I think we all know, but it's not until, like, you hear it that it becomes very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, it's him after he won, after he did the thing that everyone said he couldn't do.
Yeah.
And it's a journalist, and she asks him, "What's the biggest lie you've ever been told?" And he goes, "It's not that simple." And she goes, "What's not that simple?" And he says, "No, that's the biggest lie I've ever been told."
Mm. Mm.
And he basically says, because everyone around you will tell you what you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like summarizing, but basically
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
says, he's like, basically he says, and then you realize you just do the thing that they say you can't do,
Yep.
and then it's done. I don't know what it was about that, but then I like, something clicked where I was like, that's not just about other people. That's
Mhm.
literally an internal dialogue.
Yes.
You tell yourself you can't do something because it's too hard or
Yep.
because it's not that simple.
Yep.
And he goes, and then you realize that it was that simple, that it
Yeah.
always was. The thing that I keeps coming up for me now in my life is that simple does not mean easy.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Like,
I do.
simple means like it might be a simple task. It doesn't mean it won't be hard to do it.
Totally. Yeah. Like running a marathon. It's simple. Put one foot in front of the other for 26.2 miles, but it's
Right.
really fucking hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
I love that.
or yeah. In my case, I think it was more just just like how often it's like you know what you need to do to get something done or to, like to
Mhm.
achieve a goal and you just don't do it because you just a lack of confidence or you've never done it before. Even me with the whole becoming a boxing instructor, please know and believe I never would have imagined that that was within my capacity at all until I decided that
Yeah.
it was, and then
Totally.
I did it, and then I was.
Totally. I love that. Um, I'm gonna wait until we're done, but I'm noticing some threads here. There's definitely some themes that are
Mhm.
emerging. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna do my second one now,
Please.
and you are gonna be stunned
Oh my god,
to
I can't wait.
hear that it has something to do with music. Um, I've talked about the fact that I'm a musician, and I
Yeah,
did some research on this. So approximately 60 between 65 and 70% of Americans at one point have some exposure to playing a musical instrument.
I believe that.
However, somewhere between 10 and 15% of adults play an instrument regularly.
I also
And
believe that.
that's a lot of drop off. And then when they talk to people, and this is all from a YouGov study, so I'm not pulling this out of my ass.
Oh, okay, you did your
I
research.
did my research. And then of those people who fall off and don't play, like at least half of them say they regret putting the instrument down and not keeping up with it. And so the thing that I am thankful for is that I never put music down. And I had plenty of times in my life where it just wasn't a priority. I didn't have anyone to play with. I wasn't making progress. I was super busy at work. I didn't have a lot of time. You know, all of the things that can put a stake through the heart of your experience as a musician. And
Right.
I never did. And I never put it down. And I always sort of identified myself as a musician. And so I was like, okay, well, if you're a musician, then you better fucking practice today. And so even if it was like I was practicing for 15 minutes a day, and maybe that was like a stretch that was for 4 years, but I didn't ever just like put it away and be like, oh, I haven't touched a guitar in years and years and years. Like I've never done that. And the reason I'm so thankful for the fact that I have not done it and put it away is that I'm now probably, I would argue, like as good as I've ever been as a musician. And part of that just comes from having more time to dedicate to it, but also like wanting to. Like I was like, I really want to continue to get better in like a an intentional way. I really want to work
Mhm.
hard at this. I think the thing that is so great to me about being a musician is that it makes you, in my opinion, a better human being because you have to like put fear aside because every time you're about to play a new thing, you're like, well, I don't know how to play this thing. That's going to be hard. And you put that fear aside and you figure it out. You break it down into components and you learn it. It makes you, I think, more empathetic because when you're playing a piece of music that someone else wrote, you're like, what were they going through? What were they thinking here? And you're trying to,
Mm.
like, you put yourself in other people's shoes. And then the other thing that I think it does is um, it makes you sort of like more imaginative. It makes you have to solve problems. Like, okay, I don't know how to get from the solo back to the chorus part or whatever. So I'm going to have to try and like figure that out and solve the problem for myself. So I just think it's like an incredibly enriching experience. And I would say to anyone who's listening to this, if you have any experience playing music, and maybe painting too, and maybe like drawing, any artistic form of expression, don't put it down. Like keep it for yourself, and you will one day like look yourself in the mirror and go, thank you for not giving up on it.
Oh, so many things are like flying through my brain right now. Um, that the notion that being a musician makes you more empathetic really struck me.
Mhm.
Because I've just not heard that take before, but it totally makes sense. Because
And
music, just like any other art, is like another way to get in touch with your emotions.
right, right. And
Um,
it's not a magic silver bullet or whatever. There's trash people who are musicians. Like I'm not going to tell you that
sure.
anyone who plays music is like a magical unicorn nice person.
Hmm.
But I don't know how you could actually take yourself seriously as a creative person, a musician, or whatever, and care about like um, channeling whatever it is into some sort of an artistic medium and not be empathetic. Like, I just don't get that, because how can you not put yourself in the shoes of your audience or in the shoes of the people who've come before you that you've learned from, and be a bit more sensitive to other people's experiences in life? So, yeah, full send. I am a fan of um, musicality, musicianship, all of that stuff.
I love, and also I'm proud of you for staying committed to that. I would say I'm a former musician. I don't
Okay,
know if
what's
I've ever spoken to you about this.
probably not. Let's hear
Well,
it.
holy moly. Because when you said, like, oh, like the stats about people who play
Yeah,
instruments, that, like, immediately I thought I used to play the clarinet because my
right.
parents, like, made me do it. And
Yep.
then I stopped.
Yep.
But before all that, I was, like, obsessed with the idea of becoming a singer when I was
Yeah.
little.
Mhm.
And that led me to being in multiple select choirs growing up.
Mm.
I sang in Carnegie Hall twice.
Okay.
I
I see
sang at
you.
St. Petersburg in Austria. I
What?
sang in Disney World with these choirs.
Incredible.
I had a solo once and I choked. So I feel
Oh.
like that was a big, it
Like
was
when
like
you
a,
say choked, tell me what you mean. What happened?
I forgot the words, but
Mm.
the words
Mhm.
just left my mind as soon as
Mhm.
it was time for me to sing. I think I was like in 8th grade.
Mhm.
And it was like our performance, and they picked me because it was a Spanish song and the words were
Okay.
in Spanish. It was Las Mañanitas, and I totally fucking forgot the song. But my choir kind of like, they all knew the words, so they just
So they
started singing
covered.
in my place, but I
That's
literally
great.
like just wanted to cry. I think I did. And then yeah, I was like in high school plays. I was
It's
Gertie
amazing.
Cummings in Oklahoma. And then I
Oh.
went to college and I'm not sure where I like picked up this belief, but
Mhm.
I think it was basically like, it's just time to grow up now. It's time
Mm.
to be
Mhm.
an adult. It's time to
Mhm.
like do something that'll make me money.
Right.
And
Right.
then I just let it die. And if I'm being so honest, I grieved that from time to time.
Yeah. It's not too late. You can always start singing again.
Oh, every now and then I'll throw some Paramore on and belt my little
Yes.
heart out.
I think, yeah, I think you should get the Paramore cranked up,
Yeah.
and maybe that's one of the goals for 2026.
Yeah, getting back into music.
Yeah.
Um, Funny enough, perfect segue because
It's
my
almost like
third
we're
and
good at
last one.
segues.
Yeah. My third and last one is a musician.
Okay.
It is Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
It's Bad Bunny. It is, I'm grateful for his music because so many reasons, but there was just something about every time he dropped an album,
Mm-hmm.
coincided with like a hopeful part of my life. Like I
Mm.
just felt like he dropped Un Verano Sin Ti when I had just left corporate. Um and I actually ended up getting a tattoo, like the little caricature that's on the.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he dropped an album and he just put out like a text or like an Instagram post like, if you show up here at 7 a.m., like everybody gets free tattoos. And
Love
I
it.
was there, like, because it was a couple blocks from where I was living, and I was just like, dope. But I'm grateful for him because he just like he embodies like what he's about.
Yep.
Literally one of his albums, Yo hago lo que me da la gana, which translates to I do whatever I want.
Okay. Okay.
Um, he genuinely lives by that. Like, we're
Yeah.
talking about a guy who, when 10 years ago, maybe, was bagging groceries
Mm-hmm.
in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico. And
Yeah.
now he's about to be the first Latino artist headlining for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Like, to your point, like staying committed to something regardless of like,
The odds.
yeah, or like what it's doing for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
how it's landing with other people, or
Yeah.
even going back to the beginning of this, like not giving a fuck what other people are gonna think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he started wrestling in the WWE just because when he was a little kid, that's what he used to watch. And he was
Yeah.
like, fuck it, I can do this. And then he
Yeah.
did. And it's just like, it's stuff like that, like living in the embodiment of what you believe to be true. And again, like proving it to yourself that you can,
Yep.
regardless of what people say.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's just the best example, especially as a Latina, like that
Mm-hmm.
we have to look
Yeah.
up to as an example for that.
He hosted Saturday Night Live,
Yep.
and I was like, this guy can do everything. Like, he's inarguably an incredibly talented musical artist. He's
Right.
funny as, and like, some people are funny, but he has like that, uh, he's funny in a way that tells you that he has command over like how funny he's being. He can work in a
Mhm.
skit. He can deliver a line with like really good timing. He's a really interesting dude. I like that guy.
Yeah. So I'm
All
grateful
right.
for him because he's just picked me up when I was
There you
feeling
go.
down.
You need that.
Hmm.
Um, all right. Uh, I'm going to now tell you my third. And I run the risk of like this sounding corny, but um
It's Taylor Swift, right?
it is not. The hell it is. But it is an extremely big Taylor Swift fan, and it's my daughter. Um,
I
so I have
love you for
a
saying that.
I have a 9-year-old daughter who is just one of the most imaginative people I know because she's an, kids are amazing. They just have all this imagination all the time.
Absolutely.
And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was like, I still get excited when Quinn's like, her name is Quinn, when
Hmm.
when she's like, Dad, will you play dolls with me? And we have this, like, she's almost done with dolls. She's like, I don't play with Barbie dolls anymore. That's for babies, whatever. But she has these two American Girl dolls who are inconveniently named Izzy and Lizzie. And the reason that's inconvenient is I always say the wrong one at the wrong time. But I am the voice talent who voices Lizzie.
You're Lizzie.
And I play Lizzie like deranged. She's crazy. And she's the bad kid. And then
Lizzie
hers,
unhinged.
yes. And then her sister is Izzy, who's like very like a good kid, always does the right thing. Her parents love. She like, she's like, well, a little bit like what's the character from Leave It to Beaver, like Eddie Haskell, like a goody two shoes, a little bit. But I love, like, it makes it they say, like, "Oh, kids keep you young." Like, 100% they do, because I
Mhm.
always have to be, like, ready for anything. It's like taking an improv class, because it's gonna be like, "Okay, this time they opened a coffee shop in their bedroom, and then the neighbors come, and there's a noise complaint, and then go." And you're like,
I love that.
um so just, like, seeing the world through her eyes and seeing, like, the culture, like, the movies and the characters that she gravitates towards is so interesting and, like, keeps me, like, sharp creatively, but then that I get to, like, play. I literally get to play with her.
Yes.
It's just, like it's probably what I'm most grateful for or most thankful for creatively, is that it just keeps me creatively on my toes at all times. It's
And
amazing.
inspired.
And inspired, 100%.
It's funny, I feel like we don't talk enough about how, or maybe it's just been like a paradigm shift, but I think before kids were always asked like who they look up to, and it was typically a parent.
Mhm.
And I think that the paradigm has shifted now where parents actually look up to their kids.
You should. I mean, it's
Yeah,
my like, yeah, like, this is not a parenting podcast, so I'm not gonna go too deep on this, but I believe that parents have a responsibility to their kids that is greater than the responsibility the kids have to their parents, and I'll just
sure.
leave it at that.
Mhm.
But, like,
Yeah.
the idea of me expecting something, like, yes, you don't want your kid to be, like, out in the streets and being a bad person or whatever,
Right.
but my job is to help her, grow into the person that she's going to grow up to be, and always let her know that she's got, like, a safe harbor to come back to if things ever go bad. Like, that's it. And because I get so much, like, enrichment just from having her in my life. So yeah,
You're a
shout
true
out to
girl
Quinn.
dad. I love it.
Yes, I am. I enjoy it.
I love that.
I think there's, like, a interesting duality here between your list and my list. Um, I
Let's
feel
hear
like
it.
my list is about the things I'm thankful for that have made me who I am or how I see myself. And I feel like your list is, um, things that inspire you to be limitless or to see yourself as being limitless. And I
Mhm.
think that those are two sides of the same coin to some degree. Like, um, I at times in my career, I could have run away from something new and been like, well, let me go do something that I know how to do. And instead, I'd be like, no, like, let me try it. What's the worst that could happen? I could fail. Oh, well, so what? I'll fail at
Mhm.
other stuff too. And so I think that maybe there's this through line that, like, the value of creativity, but also a way to awaken your own creativity is to define yourself in limitless ways. Define yourself as the person you want to be, even if like that's not the person you are at the moment. Like, you never thought you were going to be a boxing instructor, and now you're like, I did it so hard that now I'm kind of bored with it. I'm like, I'm over it. But, like, you did
Yeah.
that. You did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we can all be thankful for the fact that we can be what we want to be
Yeah. I think
if we
the other
just
thing is,
take a risk.
yeah. Yeah. It is, it's all about taking risks, and one of them being, it's like, I think a lot of times as a creator, regardless of what it is you're creating,
Hmm.
there's always a like little voice. It's like, what if no one gets it? Like,
Totally.
what if no one, and it's just, you never know who is going to get it. You know what I
Totally.
mean? And it's like the timing of which the things that I mentioned happened, or like I saw them or received them, were
Mhm.
exactly when I needed them.
Yeah.
Um, so I just feel like put it out there, because you have no idea how it's going to land, who it's going to land for,
Yep.
and the timing also, like, you have no control over, but
Right.
it's important and literally can change people's lives.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point. Like, I hadn't thought about it exactly that way, but I think kind of what you're saying is that in an effort to live a creative life, you are kind of necessarily like creating little gifts for someone. And you don't know
Mhm.
who the someone is because it might be the person you're collaborating with. It might be someone who's going to hear a song you played for the first time and it really is going to hit them. It might be that you are building a business that's going to change people's lives in lots of different ways, whatever it is. Um, but like the product of creativity is gifts for other people and for yourself. And I think that that's something to be thankful for.
100%. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy that pumpkin pie.